Hey guys, this is Andreas from Pocketables.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to properly apply a screen protector so that you can avoid any bubbles. This is particularly a problem on larger devices like this iPad mini, because a larger surface area means there's more places that it can go wrong, and the screen protector itself is more unwieldy, to put it like that. So to start off, you need to make sure that the screen is perfectly clean, and I cannot stress how important this is, because every speck of dust is going to turn into a bubble. So I don't normally trust the tiny cloth that come with screen protectors. They're normally not as good as something you can just buy made for glass in basically any grocery store. So I tend to use those. If your screen is dirty, you might need to use some sort of screen cleaning fluid of some sort, but just make sure that you wipe everything perfectly down. And I normally use a flashlight to go over it in just the very last thing I do, because that means I can actually see every last speck of dust, because it really is that important to have it as clean as possible. So I've already sort of pre-cleaned this. Hopefully I don't need to tell you how to clean. So that looks good right now. And then it's important that you try to do this as quickly as possible after cleaning it, but without actually doing it too quickly. So this is the screen protector. You need to make sure you don't bend this. So what you do is, I actually need to flip mine around to work with it better. Just need to make sure that nothing fall down on the screen in that process. So this is the end that you need to remove first for my screen protector, and you do that just removing a little bit of the edge while holding it down. And do hold it down, do not hold it up to see what it looks like, because that basically just means that you're giving a perfectly nice surface for dust to settle on. So keep holding it down, just remove a little bit like this. And then I need to get close to actually align this. Keep holding it down, and just make sure that I'm aligning it around the home button in this case, and also along the edges, so that I can sort of see that it's going on straight. And once you do that, you just sort of hold it along the edge right there, like that, so that you have the alignment, and then you start almost rolling it on like this. So you just roll on part of it at a time. You don't do everything in one go. You definitely don't remove the entire screen protector and then sort of try to splash it all on. I managed to get a speck of dust on it right here, because it's very hard to do this from behind a camera. But I'm just showing you the technique you use to avoid bubbles, assuming that your screen is actually clean. So the whole idea is that you roll it on like this instead of just sort of jamming it down. And then if you do get the bubbles, you can sort of go back a little bit. Like I am doing right now. And right along the edges, particularly where you started, you normally will get a few bubbles, because that's when you actually apply just the sort of just the tip. So that's the part where you need to go over it with a squeegee, which I don't really have right now. Maybe I have something similar in my kitchen that I can use, but you know how a squeegee works. A squeegee actually works pretty well as long as there's not too much you need to squeegee out before you reach the edges. And then this bubble right here is where I managed to trap a speck of dust because, like I said, it's hard doing this from behind the camera. But after you've done this, you basically just go over it with a squeegee and make sure you get those few bubbles. That's actually another speck of dust. So, like I said, it's really important to clean this properly. I'm not going to use this screen protector, so frankly I don't care that much. I just wanted to show you the whole roll-on technique. So as you can see, this entire area, which is sort of the middle, is completely free of bubbles, because this roll-on method actually works pretty well when you can do it without standing behind a camera. And then you remove the second protective piece, and it's very important that you don't just rip this off, because this will grab the screen protector and try to pull it off in the process. So try to remove it as carefully as possible. And I would advise you to try to squeegee anything out before you remove that one, so you don't actually end up scratching your screen protector. So like I said, you can see a couple of specks of dust were trapped in this case, which doesn't matter since I'm not going to use this. But the entire purpose of this was to show you the roll-on method, and always keeping the screen protector pointed down. Do this in as clean as an environment as possible, and you should be fine. But it does take practice. I don't really like buying expensive screen protectors because even though they might be higher quality, I don't like having only a single screen protector when I apply one, because if you make a single mistake like trapping a speck of dust, it is essentially impossible to fix that, because if you lift it up and try to sort of scratch it out from underneath, you're just going to create a bigger mess. So always having a few different screen protectors seem to be a good idea, and I actually am pretty fond of the cheap ones you can buy off eBay and places like that. There might be some quality differences, but in the end I think that there's a big markup for brand name ones, unless you're talking very specific ones with oleophobic coatings or glass protectors or anything like that. So yeah, failed a little bit with the dust right here, but you can see that the actual roll-on method works pretty well. So that's it. Thank you for watching. This has been Andreas from Pocketables.com.